Yo, thank y'all for coming back to Skunky Farms LLC. I'm your guy, Big Skunky. Hey man, look, today we're gonna be putting some salmon in the oven, and we're gonna fry up some whole catfish. Yes, whole catfish, Sutter style, baby. We also gonna make up some hush puppies. We got some asparagus that we're gonna put in the skillet. And what else? We got some lobster tails, we got some crab legs that we're gonna throw in the pot. We just cooking up some stuff today, man. So thank y'all for coming back to Skunky Farms LLC, the show that I call the sizzle of love. Hold tight, don't go nowhere. Matter of fact, click that like button, click that subscription button if you're just not jumping in. Hey, and we're gonna get on to cooking. You smell me. We've got our salmon, we've rinsed it off and everything like that. So what I like to do is I'm just gonna take this salmon and lay it out on this cooking board right here. So we just pat it dry with a napkin. You can use a towel if that's what you want to do. I just use an old napkin, not an old napkin. You know what I mean. You're gonna take some olive oil and you're gonna drop a little olive oil on top of your salmon. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me let the camera down. There we go. Put a little olive oil on your salmon, like so. Rub that olive oil all on your salmon. Rub the salmon down with the olive oil. Now the olive oil is just a base just to help the seasonings stick to the salmon. That's all it's really there for. It helps it cook a little bit, but for the most part it's just so the seasonings will stick to the salmon. Once you have your salmon all rubbed down in olive oil, take your seasoning and sprinkle it all over the salmon. Coat the salmon with the seasoning. It has the kosher salt in there, the black pepper, the parsley flakes, the slap your mama. Remember guys, get all around those edges, all around those sides. You want to season this salmon. And these are some pretty big chunks of salmon too. So fish tends to hold salt very well. So you don't want to over season it, but you don't want it bland either. You want some seasoning on that meat. And believe me, I like seasoning. Can't stand when you go somewhere and the food all bland, I guess you can call it, or whatever they call it. It just don't have no taste to it. It don't have no seasoning or nothing on it. Now once you get all that seasoning put on there, kind of rub it in, mash it in. Rub it in. Get the back of that skin. Hey look. The back of that skin is very, very fishy. So if you like fishy stuff, hey, that's your stuff right there. But usually when I cook it, the skin kind of peels off the bottom. You can flake it right on off. And salmon does not take long to cook, especially in the oven. It does not take long to cook at all. But me personally, I like my salmon a little more well done than most people. So we're gonna cook it just a little bit more well done. First, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the oven on bake. Now, I like to heat my oven up to like 375 to start off with. I heat it up to 375. Once we put the salmon into the oven, we're gonna bump that up to like 400. And then we're gonna put a broiler on it. We're gonna cut the broiler on like the last 5 or 6 minutes that the salmon is in the oven. But here's the salmon sitting up here. What you want to do is get you some kind of spray to go on your cooking sheet. Now look, I don't have any aluminum foil. Usually I would lay some aluminum foil on this, spray it down, and sit the salmon directly on it. Salmon has a lot of fat on the back of it, so it will make its own grease. Once you bring it out of the oven, you just let it sit for a while, and it will peel like right off of that aluminum foil. But in the meantime, this is my first time kind of cooking it on this little cooking sheet. So we're gonna just spray this down a little bit with a little bit of oil. Rub that oil into the, just rub it, smear it around just to get an even coat of the oil on the tray. That's how I like to do it. You do it however you want to do it. Take your salmon, place your salmon on your cooking tray. And this is the salmon that we had already prepared that was in the freezer. It's thawed out now, so we're gonna take that. And look at that. It's already seasoned up. Yeah. We have our asparagus. Now I've taken these asparagus. Anytime you cooking asparagus, you want to take the asparagus. This one right here is pretty big on the end. I can probably snap this one. But you want to take it and snap it just like that. Snap those little ends off so you end up with an asparagus about that long. So we snap those little ends off. What I do is I've already rinsed these asparagus off. What I like to do is get some extra virgin olive oil. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's what I like to use. Take a little bit of that and dab a little bit on it. Just a little bit. You don't need a whole lot. This is just so when we season them, the season will stick to them, and it'll help them, you know, cook in the skillet as well. We're gonna add a little bit to the skillet. So after you add your olive oil to your asparagus, you just want to mix them around, toss them around to get an even coat of olive oil on the asparagus. Now for this recipe here, I'm not gonna go all out for these asparagus. That's a pretty big one right there too. That one, matter of fact, that one that broke. Look at that. Let's get that out of there. But for this recipe here, yes, my hands are clean, people. My hands are clean. We're gonna use some of that good old slap your mama. That's all we're gonna use. Sprinkle some slap your mama on these things, just like so. Now it looks like I'm putting a lot of seasoning on them. I'm really not. It just looks like that because of the camera, guys. Don't panic, don't panic. But after you do that, you just toss them around. Just toss them around a little bit. That's it. Now if y'all watched the last video of my daughter, she mentioned that the food was so good, make you want to slap your mama. So I figure in this video, we're gonna use some slap your mama. This is what you want to do. You want to get your 2 tablespoons of butter, put it off into your skillet. Yeah. We're gonna take that, just bare rice or whatever, put it in that skillet on top of that butter. Now on this pack it says to slowly pour in your water after the rice get golden brown. Now that's the sizzle of love. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys know how to cook rice, man. You can just follow the instructions on the pack. You also can beef this rice up, man. You know what I'm saying? If you have some chicken or something, add you some chicken to it. It's got the little content in the pack, the little chicken seasoning or whatever. Just take that, dump it in. It kind of smells like broccoli and cheese, but it's supposed to be chicken. Maybe they made a mistake and gave us broccoli and cheese rice in a chicken box. I don't know. Bring it to a boil. Once you bring it to a boil, we're gonna cut it off, let it sit for 15 minutes, cover it up, and voila, the rice, not the rice, but the rice will be done. Pretty quick, simple, easy little dish to make. The oven has came up to temp to 375. Here's those salmon fillets that we're gonna pop into the oven. So we just open up the oven like that, slide them in. The rice is still cooking on the stove. We covered it up. We've cut the heat down to a low, slow simmer. Just gonna give it one more stir, just like so. We have the boiling pot of water right here on the stove. That's for the crab legs and the lobster tails. And that's the rice. It's gonna sit there and boil for a second and get nice, soft, and tender. Over here, we have our lobster tails. Now I took out 5 of them. We have a whole big bag in the freezer. But all you wanna do is take your lobster tails, excuse the loudness of the water, just rinse those lobster tails off. Hey, look, this is what I use. I use the Louisiana boil-in bag of crab boil or whatnot. You do not have to open this bag or anything. It's got all them little seeds and seasonings and stuff like that in there. Just drop that bag right on in that water, just like so. We're gonna take a little bit of garlic powder, some kosher salt, some Old Bay seasoning. Yes. With your asparagus, all you want to do, get your nice clean skillet, take your little bit of olive oil, pour you some olive oil in your skillet, and take your asparagus and dump them in the skillet. I don't like for my asparagus to be all soft and mushy. That's overcooked. I want them to be a little soft, but kind of, you know, that little bite. When you bite it, it snaps. That's what you want on it. We're gonna hit them with a little bit more of that slap your mama and a little bit of garlic butter. We're gonna stir these things up. We're gonna go ahead and get those lobster tails and those crab legs off into this pot. Look at that. Look at that. Off into the pot. And what you want to do is you want to stir these asparagus around. You don't want them to burn, people. Matter of fact, let's cut this down to medium. Low and slow wins the race. Now that's the sizzle of love. Now the way that I can tell if my asparagus are just like how I like it, I simply look for the biggest one. Find me one and bite it. Perfect. Look how they snap out there. Look. See? Many feet. And here we have the crab legs off in there. We're gonna throw the lobster tails off in there as well. Just gonna drop them into the pot. It's amazing how them lobster tails ball up when you put them in hot water. It's almost like they be still alive or something. In the meantime, hey, look, we're just gonna straighten up everything and wait for the salmon to get done in the oven. We're gonna bring it out. Matter of fact, I'll show it to you real fast. That's the salmon. Let's get off in there. Look at that. The salmon look good already and it smells wonderful. That's how I know it's done. I break a little piece off. If I can push it off with my finger, it's done. Took a little bit of that garlic spread right there, because that's all we got. Now put it on top of that salmon. Hope you guys can see that. Put it on top of that salmon, and we're gonna put it back in this oven for just a few ticks to let it all melt. This how easy this salmon slides right up off of there. You want lobster tail?
Sure. You could lobster tails too? That's what I said. He could, no clothes.
And feast your eyes on that, people. We got the grilled salmon with the oven cooked salmon, the chicken rice, the lobster tail, the crab leg, and the asparagus. What'd you say, Chloe?
Bussin'.
Bussin'. You like it?
Ooh.
Yeah. And you tell them I said that. Hashtag that. Big Skunky. You smell me. All right, people.